Welcome to the 4 Pillars of Men's Health, a podcast of resources for restoring vigor and vitality, bringing you top influencers in the men's health arena, case studies of men who have succeeded and how they did it, and cutting-edge teaching on men's health issues from America's leading men's health guru, Dave Skatt. Get ready to take steps towards good health. Here's your host, Dave Skatt.
Hey, welcome to the 4 Pillars of Men's Health. Thanks for joining us today. I'm really excited about these series of podcasts I've been doing called Your Story, where I'm just interviewing guys that I've met and got in contact with about their journey to good health, the things that they've done really well, some missteps sometimes people make, and it was really exciting to hear everyone's different people's perspectives on their journey to good health. I think it's so exciting for me to think about all the ways that people have traveled this road of life and found satisfaction. And that's what I hope to do, is just to inspire you as you listen to these things and hear how people have done it and glean what you can from them, and hopefully be entertained a little bit as well. And I'm especially excited to have on my podcast a guy that I've known for a long time. I met him through an organization I belong to called Toastmasters, where we work on improving our leadership and communication skills. And Tom, this is Tom Potter. And Tom, I'm so glad you're on the show. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, you bet, Dave. Glad to be here.
All right. Hey, so Tom has, a few years ago, retired from the USDA. He worked for you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but Natural Resource Conservation Service, and he did a great job there, put in a lot of years, and retired from that. He's married, has 3 kids and 8 grandkids. And one of the things that is so intriguing to me about Tom is that he's built this incredible business through Amway, where he's helped people do some really successful things in their life. And I think Tom's going to talk about that a little bit today. But Tom, I always like to start these podcasts off in this way. And I'm always curious to hear, what is getting Tom Potter out of bed in the morning? What's turning your crank these days, Tom?
Well, Dave, I'm a pretty busy guy. You know, I spent years working for the government, and after that, I had a lot of projects on the list that I wanted to accomplish, and so that's what I do these days. I really like to build things, and currently I'm building a pole barn out on my property. I'm working on building a couple of churches. I'm going to be building kitchen cabinets. So a lot of things like that keep me busy.
Wow, really? Yeah, I still remember those pictures you showed me of that canoe you built out of wood, and how fascinating, and how that was like a huge project, and it turned out so beautiful. Do you still have that canoe?
Yeah, I do, and that's pretty little compared to the things I do today. I've got a 1964 Chris Craft Constellation, which is an old cabin cruiser that I'm going to rebuild. And so that's one of my top things on my list.
Sheesh. Oh, man. So, yeah, the canoe is a little miniature, just get your toe in the water a little bit compared to that. Wow, that's great.
So always something to do. And that's we're talking about health. And I think one of the things you have to do in life is keep busy and keep things in front of you, keep goals and dreams, in front. Yeah. And always striving to achieve new things.
Yeah, exactly. That's cool. Hey, so I'm kind of like an amateur historian. I love reading historical books and hearing things about our past. And when I think of men's health, my mind kind of wanders back to the Greek and Roman era, when you see these sculptures. And this is on my bucket list to go see these in person, but I've seen pictures of them where a guy just takes a hammer and a chisel, and he starts pounding on some marble, and at some point, eventually, this incredible statue comes out of this big rock, and it's just like his idea of what a healthy man looks like. And if Tom Potter could put an ideal man up on one of those Greek or Roman pillars, what would that person look like? What's that ideal healthy man in Tom Potter's eyes?
Well, I guess that would be me.
All right. I agree with that.
Well, it's funny, I'm actually very healthy for my age. I'm 61 years old, and I've tried to lead a very healthy life. I'm a late baby boomer. I'm part of that generation. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so I grew up with the food pyramid and, hearing about how fat made you fat and all these different things that are so off base these days. We've come a long ways in knowledge as far as, eating properly and what can keep you healthy. And I had my mother died at age 56 from early onset Alzheimer's disease. And my father lived till about 81, but he struggled with pre-diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and things like that. And I just, I look at that, and it's like most of those things are environmental. There's some genetics involved. But for the most part, it's decisions you make along the way. And so I made a promise to myself that I was going to try my best to avoid falling into the trap that so many people fall into of eating wrong and not having enough activity and all those kind of things in life. Yeah. And so, I've tried to pattern my life around other successful people. Mm-hmm. And by doing that, I think I've lived a pretty successful life.
Yeah. Yep. When you say that it's environmental and it's choices that we make, that rings so true to me, because I've seen, people around me that have chosen, just to continue on. I call it the SAD diet, the standard American diet, where we're eating so much processed foods and stuff that's just so unhealthy for us, and the impact that has when you put that kind of food in your mouth, it's almost like a poison, really, because it goes in and creates so many problems that you just described, from diabetes to cancer and heart disease and dementia and all those things. I think that's such a big deal for us to get a handle on that. So, way to go there. So, Tom, go ahead.
I was going to say, I have a degree in forestry and wildlife, and so I've always been enamored by the outdoors, and so I try to incorporate that into my life. I've never been really good at just exercising for the sake of exercising, but I try and involve myself in activities that I really enjoy that do keep me active. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, just something that gets your heart rate up and gets your body moving and keeps your muscles active. That's really important. So we got this ideal man up on one of these pillars now, Tom. So let's flip that around. What do you think it is in our society or in your sphere of influence and knowledge what is it, a couple key things that make guys unhealthy? If diet and exercise makes us healthy, what is it? Tell us more about what it is that makes us unhealthy people.
Well, part of it is just not paying attention. But I know that in the job that I had, I was a GIS professional, which meant I spent all day sitting behind a computer doing things on screen. And I can remember, probably it was about 12 years ago, it was probably one of the most unhealthiest points in my life. And I was approaching, I think, about 230 pounds, which is a lot for, I'm 6'1", but still that's a lot. And I was just thinking that, gosh, my 36-inch waist pants aren't fitting very well anymore. And I happened to be listening to the radio, and I heard this seminar that a local chiropractor was doing about healthy living and all that. And I thought, I'm going to go to that Just see what he has to say. And one of the things that they did was they gave me this book called Cruise Ships or Nursing Homes. Okay, that's a decision that you can make. And, as you approach, the later years in your life, you see these older people that are doing absolutely amazing things, while people their exact same age are barely able to get out of a chair.
Yeah.
So what I started doing was I started, on my lunch break, I'd walk 2 miles instead of going to the fast food restaurants.
Yeah.
I started doing things like portion control and eating better, and got my weight back down to 175 pounds on that sprint. And currently I'm maintaining at about 185, so I'm pretty happy there. Back to a size 34 pants, and trying to stay in good shape.
That's
but I think, like I say, it's all decisions, and for a lot of people, it's lack of time. They just don't think about what they're doing. They end up in this trap of going to work and coming home and flopping on the couch and grabbing a bag of chips and watching TV and all that kind of stuff, and they don't realize that those little things that they do every day add up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And, I especially liked what you said about regarding exercise. There's people who just, it seems like they thrive in like a gym environment, or maybe there's somebody that's like trying to do a marathon or something like that. But sometimes that is like repulsive, like normal people. And I really like the way you phrase that, where you like to find activities that you could do that keeps your body moving, that you enjoy. And it sounds like you found some of it. Tell us more about that. What have you found that you like that keeps your body moving?
Well, to be honest, Dave, it's just I find working out at a gym boring. I know you can put a headset on or whatever it happens to be, but I'd rather be out taking a walk. I'd rather be out canoeing a river. I'd rather strap on a set of cross-country skis and just get out in the world, into nature, and move the muscles around, breathe a little faster, and do things like that than sit there and pump iron or pace on a treadmill or whatever. And so I've never been able to exercise for the sake of exercise. It's always been do something. Yeah.
Constructive.
Yeah, do something that gets me out of the house, gets the blood pumping. Even like I say, when I was working full time, just getting out at lunch and walking 2 miles, at a fast pace, that was great exercise for me.
Yeah. Okay, so now we kind of touched on this a little bit. So if you look back over your life, and so what you should be doing, you should be heading in this healthy way. Tell us about some of the biggest struggles that you've had. You mentioned that sitting in that office was challenging for you, but anything else that you can think of in your life where it's been a pretty big challenge for you to stay as a healthy person?
Well, definitely a sedentary lifestyle, or a sedentary job is a challenge.
Yeah.
The other thing is just time. People are busy these days, especially, when you're young, you're raising a family, you got kids and stuff like that. It's just hard to make time for yourself sometimes to do stuff. Yeah. So that's a challenge. Food is always a challenge. If you like to eat, I like to go on cruise ships, and the opportunity to eat there is just incredible.
Oh, yeah, geez. It's like blasting out in front of you.
Yeah. But you learn to make good decisions and good choices, and, you can still do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. That's cool. So if you, this is something I'm really interested to see what you're going to say about this, Tom. When you look back over your life, a lot of the guys that I've talked to on this show have pointed to either like key circumstances, situations, or people that came into their life that really impacted them, and it was kind of like they did a 180 after they came into this circumstance or met this person or did this certain thing. They were going one way, and it just radically changed their life. Can you look back over your life and tell us about a time where you were kind of headed maybe in a more unhealthy way or whatever, and because of this person, circumstance, or whatever it is, you came across that it really changed you, and you started heading in a different direction? Can you think of any times like that in your life?
Can. And one of those times I talked about already was, that seminar I went to. But the other thing was when we were invited to take a look at the Amway business, and ended up getting started in that. What I found was that there's a real need for mentorship in the world, and that's what I found in the Amway business. Amway owns Nutrilite, which is the largest vitamin and supplement company in the world, and I've been taking supplements, pretty much all my adult life. For the last 23 years, I've taken these high-quality supplements. And I think that's really important to people, because even if you try and eat properly, the food that we get today in this mass-produced agricultural world is just not as healthy as it used to be. It's just not as nutritious. And by properly supplementing, you can help fill in the gaps. And when you fill in the gaps nutritionally, it's amazing how much better you feel and how less you feel like you have cravings for things, because you already have what you need.
Right. That's cool. So, something you hit on there that it's kind of like a theme throughout this podcast is the need for mentorship, and it's so critical for us to run into people or purposefully find people that we can follow and get mentored from them, and it also makes me think of the people in my life that are maybe younger than me or not as far along as I am, and the impact that I can have on them by just saying some encouraging words or giving them little nuggets of wisdom that I've learned. And so how is it that in the Amway business, how is it that this mentoringship thing came about? I'm not connecting Amway with mentoring. Yeah. So how did that work out for you?
If you think about it, Dave, you, me, everybody, we're all some of the decisions that we've made up to this point, right?
Yeah, right.
And we've taken ourselves about as far as we can go based on the knowledge we have and all that. And so I feel that it's really important to be in contact with people that know more than me, that have achieved more than I have achieved, that are healthier than I am, that are more financially successful, that are more spiritually successful. Because health just isn't just a physical trait. I mean, there's you talked about the 4 pillars of health, and so there's many aspects to it beyond just being physically healthy. And so in the Amway business, it's funny, there is the Amway business where we sell products and we sponsor people and things like that. Yeah. But there's another organization that supports that called Worldwide Dream Builders. And quite frankly, I just love the name because we help people, build dreams and build a better life. And it's not just, financially, it's not just health-wise. It's in all aspects. And through that business, I've been able to connect to countless people, like John Maxwell, who is one of the greatest leadership teachers in the world. He's a big part of my life through that business. I've learned from other successful people. It's important to be a lifelong learner and to always challenge yourself, always have goals set for yourself, always to strive to accomplish more. If you're not moving ahead, you're moving backwards by default. And so this has given me an opportunity and an avenue where I can tie into more successful people and then in turn share that mentorship down from me and help other people along the way. And so it's when you involve your life into the lives of other people, I can't think of a more satisfying way to live.
Yeah, exactly. That's so good. Okay, Tom, here's the second to the last question. But now I have just put a crown on your head and given you a magic scepter or a magic wand, and you can wave this magic wand over the earth and make it a much more healthy place for all mankind. What are you going to do with that magic wand? Tell us what you're going to do with this magic wand.
That's a very interesting question, Dave, and I've actually thought about this a lot. Because, I thought about things like, what if I could have everybody just lose 15 pounds? Or if I could have everybody eat better? If I could have everybody develop a relationship with Jesus? Or, something like that.
Yeah.
And, I got to thinking that none of that requires any magic. Those are all just decisions that you can make on your own, or if you know how. And so almost everything I thought of was the same way. It's a decision you could make. And so if I did have that magic, I would want to grant people knowledge. I would want to grant them wisdom. And, if to be more specific, I would say I would love to see people join the Amway business with me, because that's where I learned about relationships. I learned about nutrition. And I learned about how to have a great marriage. I learned how to communicate and have dreams and how to show gratitude and be generous and all the things that, make me healthy physically, but also spiritually and in other aspects of my life. And so I would wish to grant people knowledge. Yeah.
That's great. So let's. I got one more question for you, but before we get into that, just tell us a little bit more. Now, so I've had, what I know about Amway is, people. It seems like people get a little pushy, and I'm not sure if I want to get involved. But it seems like what you're saying is this group of people is pretty high caliber, and just being around these higher caliber type of people, it raises yourself up to that level. And so tell us a little bit more about Amway and how somebody can get involved with it and why you think that's important, like you just said.
Well, if anybody wants to contact me about this, they can. The best way to get a hold of me is by email, and it would be DCE, like Delta Charlie Echo 00 at outlook.com. And I could definitely explain to them more about it. But I'm sure you're familiar with the golden rule, Dave. Treat others as you'd like to be treated.
Yeah.
There's all these urban legends about, Amway, and you talked about people being pushy and all that, but, would you be pushy?
No, I wouldn't be pushy.
I'm not either. And so
I know that.
I look for people that are looking for a better life. And when I find people that are looking for a better life, I help them achieve it. That's kind of my attitude with the Amway business.
Cool.
It's a chance to be an entrepreneur and to control your own destiny, and that's what I really like about it. And I didn't come on this to really promote my Amway business, but I have to admit, Dave, that it's made me the person that I am today, health-wise and otherwise.
Yeah. Yep. Well, yeah, but see, Tom, just like I said at the beginning, each one of us has this unique path that we've traveled, and this is your path. And I think a lot of people need to hear about what has helped you become a healthy person and a successful, like I know that you are. And so I don't shy away. I wouldn't shy away from it if I was you. And also, Tom, I'm going to put your email in our show notes. So if anybody didn't catch that, it's dce00@outlook.com, but it'll be in the show notes if you missed that, if you're driving or something, and you can pull that up and get a hold of Tom that way. All right, so Tom, this is the way I like to end this thing is we've talked a lot about your journey. We've talked a lot about your thoughts on good health. And I just want you to wrap this up with any kind of closing thoughts or ideas about men's health and your perspective on that. And if there's something that we've kind of missed or whatever, you want to refresh that. And just if there's, do you have like a website or anything like that you operate, or is it mostly best contact is email?
I have a retailing website. That's
okay.
Really it. But, for more information in general, the best way is to contact me.
So probably best way is just email.
Yeah. Okay. But as far as, healthy living goes, to kind of wrap things up, I think it's one of those things that we need to pay attention to, and it's so easy for it to get away from us. It's so easy to start to put on those extra pounds as you age, start to become more sedentary, and I think it's something that we just need to keep in front of us and remember that, there's people out there that are living incredible, happy lives into old age, happy, healthy lives. And it's because they do it on purpose. It's not, it doesn't happen by accident. It's done on purpose. And there's something called the compound effect. It's the little decisions that add up. And the little decisions will either trend you in a downward direction or they'll trend you in an upward direction. And it's really important to make decisions that keep you moving forward.
You've been listening to the 4 Pillars of Men's Health with Dave Skattum. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit the4pillarsofmenshealth.com.